All right, hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we are back for another trading stream. Today, I'm pretty happy. So far with the charts. We will be going over all the BTC Finance one more time. Maybe just obviously it's new, and I thought I might as well keep it going. You know, obviously we did it last stream on Tuesday. I thought I might as well look at it again, see how it was gone. It's not good, is what I will say. It's not great. In terms of what I've said, it's relatively, you know, it's followed it relatively okay. In terms of the people who are holding BTC Finance, it's not great for them. It's not great. But I'm going to start my timer before anything else, because you know how I am. You know, and I'm a yibba yabba. I need to stick to a 1 hour regime, even though I never do. I'll try my best though. Apart from that, obviously, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all that sort of stuff, doing pretty good. Pretty happy so far, so we will get into it in a second. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you for being here at the start of the stream. Tito, I know you're here. Kishan, I know you're here as well. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. Let me refresh Square just to see if anyone's actually there. Let's pause that quickly. Okay. Obviously, yeah, we'll see how it goes. There. KB's here. Evening to you as well. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to go into the percentages. All right. 109,973. Obviously, we were talking when we were about 112, where it was exactly, about it coming down again. And obviously, we've been doing that, and we've actually had quite a fast fall down. And it's, you know, it's going pretty well. It's not like an iffy fall. It's falling pretty fast. So that is good, obviously, for you know, what I've been talking about. And from what it seems like, anyway, we've had not a very great day pretty much across the board. You see BTC Finance there, actually. Where is that? Where'd that go? There it is. 29th. It's kind of crazy. 15.5% down on the 24-hour, 19% down on the 7-day, 4% up. Who gives a crap? 4% up on the 1 hour. Realistically, it's not doing anything. So, do you know what I mean? Also, want to make sure I'm not lagging or anything. I don't think I'm lagging. Okay, Mags is here. Hello, Mags. Thank you for being here. We're waiting for Bitcoin to go to discount. Yeah, absolutely. We came to premium. We're heading towards discount or equilibrium, but I think we're going to go towards, basically we're in a downtrend. We're aiming for lower highs and lower lows, so I think we're going to go towards the low as well. But again, you know, the thing is as well, what I want to review today on Bitcoin is not only what we're doing right now, but we've had quite a nice, you know, fall so far in terms of not only in the past, you know, couple streams, whatever, but coming from 124k till here. So I do want to kind of review a longer time frame Bitcoin, just to see, you know, how we're doing. Are we going to have more of a longer term retracement? We've been moving really fine. Again, it's not like we've had a massive dump in like 2 days. We have to have a massive retracement and have like a massive fall down. We've had a really structured move down. So it's not like it's like, oh, I don't know, guys. I'm not feeling too great about Bitcoin. I think we're going to come up with this, that, the other. But you know, I do want to look at the higher time frames, because it's majoritively been 1 hour, 4 hour, and stuff like that. I think I even maybe looked at the 15-minute. I can't remember exactly, but I have been looking at the 15-minute on Bitcoin, because we had that order block and the inverted gap, which we used to have the order block, which we came to. You guys saw it on the last stream. We'll go over it again anyway. Tariq is here. Good evening to you. It's nice to have people back. Last stream I didn't have, you know, I don't think I know Danny was here, I think. I haven't seen KB in a while. I haven't seen Mags in a while, I don't think, on the stream, unless I missed his name. I don't think I missed you. Tito, I think you were there. I don't know if Tariq was there. I don't think you were there last stream, but thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you all. Not a soul on Square. It's like we've gone from riches to rags. Last stream we had a bazillion people, and now there's nobody here. But really horrible. If you just look at the screen of what we have, it's just not nice. I mean, again, it's not for me, because I've pretty much been talking about things going down or proceeding going down. So it kind of makes sense that everything's kind of negative. But yeah, if you're a heavy bull today. If you're a heavy bull today, it's not a great day for you. But anyway, 24-hour winners losers. Let's just see. Meme coin pumped up fun. Finally seeing pumped up fun actually going up for once, which is nice for pumped up fun. But again, a very bad day. You can tell top 10 of the top tokens for 24%. You can see stable coins, not even top 7. Like there's hardly anything going up. You know, pumped up fun, meme core. I don't even know meme core is this. I don't know what that is. No circulating supply and slightest, which is crazy, but yeah, there's nothing here. There's nothing here, and then you just get stable coins, and then obviously BTC Finance does rightly deserve to be the top loser. Absolutely, it's just. I feel sorry. It's just crazy. It's just constantly going down. Again, we are going to look at it quickly before Bitcoin, because I just want to get out of the way. You know, I looked at the 50-minute last stream, and you know, I just want to get out of the way. know what I'm saying? Also, is my mic too loud? I don't know the levels. They were all right last stream. It was fine last stream. I don't know if it got turned up. I was recording, so I don't know if it's changed. So if it's too loud for you guys, I will turn it down. Other than that, again, actually, I do want to look at Strip. Strip actually has been going up. We missed the low by nothing. As you can see, we're 47.4. If you guys know, and you've been on the stream, the last low we had before we pumped to 50 cent, we just about missed printing and taking the low. I think we've done the same thing. Basically, we've come towards a low. Again, same process. 50 cent, had that retracement up to the massive candle we had coming downwards. Perfectly fine. What I've been saying since then is we're going to come and head towards, I think, 38.5, whatever it was exactly. And I think we've missed it by a fraction of a penny. We started to go up. So again, we will actually review Syrup as well, because I think we are starting to go up, which is obviously nice for Syrup as a whole. Just missed the low, I think, which is obviously unfortunate. But again, it's never 100%. I do want to look at Sui. Sui's been doing pretty good. I know Tito is here. I did talk about, again, I've been talking about $3.15 to $3.10. I think we wicked towards $3.11. I think we've come into that area. So I do want to see with Sui as well. I don't know if we've started to print higher or start to reverse, or excuse me, or anything like that. But we have come to our area pretty nicely. So we will see. I think that is it. I've got so many more coins to cover today. I'm a changed person. I've gone from Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and spending an hour and 10 minutes on them to now like double that. So again, I do need to move on. But Treat was sick. We missed Wednesday as well. It was unfortunate we missed Wednesday. I do think we are coming back for next Wednesday there. So yes, and you're on holiday. Hope you had a nice holiday, KB. Nice that you are back. So let's go to here. So what we talked about last stream, Tuesday, not that long ago. Again, I had to look at the 15 minute, and I'm not someone who looks at the 15 minute in terms of on these streams, because I like to do it on the higher time frame for relative, we can actually look at it and you can do something and it will happen over a period of days, and not literally as the stream ends. And we World Liberty Finance is that negative. We missed we missed us having a retracement. We just come down. It's been the most negative thing I've ever seen. And again, newly released coins. I never want to trade a pre-market in my life. I never want to do anything like that. I never want to trade these the coins which literally come out. Again, you can see by the 15 minute, it's just been going down. It's genuinely just constantly been going down. I would never want to look at this. Again, Bitcoin, it's so much easier to look at coins which have history to them, because I can actually talk about things which happened in the past relative to the future. But when you come to World Liberty Finance and you're on the 15 minute and you're trying to find some sort of history which isn't there, it's a lot harder to find that, a lot easier place to find consistency in what you would talk about on a chart. Again, obviously, we're still looking at it anyway. Mike, I have a virus. I've been off since Monday. This is like great people like, okay, so what you're saying is I'm not great because I haven't been ill. Okay, that sounds like an excuse. Anyway, going to what we talked about. So we had, basically I was like, oh yeah, well, let's be fine. So I think we could come up towards 24 cent. Yeah, I think we could come up to 24 cent. Yeah, I think this would be good. We didn't get anywhere near there, okay? We got to 23.7. I just marked out the highs. Again, this is the 15 minute. The fact that I'm marking out these, not random highs, but these highs are very close to each other. I'd have to go to the 1 minute for this to be longer. You know what I mean? Actually, maybe not 1 minute, 5 minutes actually. To have some sort of variance. We have obviously these. We have these highs here, which is again not great. Having triple equal highs here, but I did mark out the highs. Again, the idea is you want to come towards that midpoint and you want to aim for there. Again, it's not always going to happen. Always missing, always aiming for that equilibrium, always aiming higher or some point there. And I thought, okay, let's not go to the 1 hour. 1 hour is useless. Actually, no, we had the one I marked out. I looked at it after, just before I started the stream, just to see, okay, how's it going? And I just wanted to see, things which I missed. Again, I did quickly want to go over World Liberty Finance. Last year I wanted to quickly go over it because I didn't really want to spend too much time on it because I don't really want to look at this at all. It's been going down the whole time, and it's been going even worse. And what I was saying, I said, oh, you know what, coming towards 20 cent, obviously we could probably do a low high. I think it'd be very hard for people. I said this to obviously people in Square. I said it's gonna be very hard for people who bought it and go, oh, 12th coin now. It's been listed up here at 30 cent. Let's buy it, and then it's come all the way down to 18.5 cent, and it's just like it's gonna be very hard to find a return in any sort of profit in the relative time frame of now. It's just, I don't think it's going to be possible. Again, clearly it's not been possible because you've come from all the way over there. Obviously, pre-market was trading at 28 cent or whatever it was. And it's like, it's just unfortunate. It really is. It's really unfortunate to obviously it equaled out. Obviously got towards actual trading, the actual trading price when it got listed on Binance, and it's literally just been going down since then across the board. It's just been going down. And again, obviously, like I was saying, it's gonna be very hard for people to even get anywhere near the chance of selling at a profit. I don't think we're going to really see that. So obviously, thank you, Trump. You had to shout to Trump, really caught everyone out here. And I didn't catch me out, but I would never want to buy this. I never had any intention of buying this in my life, but I can understand. It's like it's. I wouldn't bother. I just couldn't care. I just don't really care. I don't really care. Oh well, if you find out, it's Trump's thing. It's Trump's thing. It's Trump's family. It's going to be so much money. He's going to do everyone proud. He loves crypto. When he went to the Bitcoin conference, asked, do people know what a stablecoin is? Do you know what I mean? It's like as soon as I heard that, my gut sank, if you will. It's like I was obviously watching the charts. I remember streaming the charts as the conference was going on, and he was talking, I was watching it, doing that, and it just saddened me. It's just like, do you guys know what a stable coin is? It's like, really, like, could you not have got anyone who half knows about crypto to not ask that question? Are you really asking at a Bitcoin conference, do you know what a stable coin is? It's just like, you clearly have no idea what's going on. You're like, oh, we're going to make money from it. Someone's promised you're going to make money if you just make a crypto project and just sell it. Just make some money before you die, for your family. Just make this some random ass crypto project, sell it off, make some money, leave. And he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, obviously he's a businessman or whatever. And it's just like asking, do you know what a stable coin is at a Bitcoin conference? I'm not going to, I don't even care about this. I don't even care. I'm going to Bitcoin. I don't even care. None of you guys care either, probably. Do you guys care? Do you guys care if you want me to look at a 15-minute of World of Finance? Is there something people care about? Because I will happily move on. I know I've spent 12 minutes talking and not even looking at a single bit of price action. So, I will happily move on if people do not care. Because again, I will not blame you if you do not care about World of Finance. Because again, if none of you have World of Finance, it's not going to matter to you. We'll just move on. Okay, and I noticed there was a lot of people on Tuesday who had World of Finance in Square, and it seems like they've all left, and they're not there anymore. We had so many people on Tuesday, so many people. Obviously, Mike tweeted about it. So many people, and now we have 20 people. People must have come along and went, this guy sucks. This guy's awful, and I left. I've sent everyone to sleep, and no one's answering. That's fine. I'll move to Bitcoin. Fine. I don't want to look at this anyway. I think I was on balance. There we go. So what were we talking about? Okay, let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, have a look at what we're talking about. So we're talking about this area up here. I don't know if I talk about this this expansion being reversed and being used as resistance. I don't know if I talked about that. I think I remember talking about this previous price action we were talking about last stream, whenever it was, and obviously talking about us finding resistance in this area and then continuing downwards towards the low, which obviously is just normal. And yes, obviously we have aimed towards that discount price from this from the high to the low. Obviously, aiming above there to find the lower high and then come down and proceed to dump. It's been really nice price action. I would rather look at this any day than. Okay, Christian said yes. Is that a yes to actually looking at World Liberty Finance? Because I've just jumped on. What I'll do, I'll do Bitcoin in the meantime. Maybe my stream's lagging and it's taking a while for my words to get towards your screens and your ears, and maybe you guys need to answer in a bit, which is fine. I'll just do Bitcoin in the meantime, and if people actually want me to look at World Liberty Finance, I will look at it. Anyway, so price action. So I don't know if I actually talked about the gap, which I was looking at. I have it on a different layout. I had different layouts. I don't like messy charts. I'm a monster when it goes. If I unhide this, you can see how monstrous this. What's annoying me as well? This, maybe it's a stupid thing. Maybe it's me, and I'm just an idiot with price action. Oh, not price action, with tech. What am I talking about? This little button at the bottom. This thing. Get a view of this, or the other. Oh, got it. That might. I don't want this, and it keeps on popping up, and it doesn't disappear. It doesn't disappear. I keep on loading up TradingView, and there's this blue box in the way every single time I load up TradingView, asking me, do I care about this? I don't care. Get out of the way. Anyway, you can see obviously how monstrous I am with how much just things I have on this chart, and I hide them, and I go, guys, we'll just make a group quickly, and then we'll come back to it. And we have group 1, group 2, 3, group 4, standard deviations, group 2. It's just a mess, and I just don't look at it. So I made a new I made a new drop down thingy here, a new profile, and I think I drew it on there. Anyway, I was talking about anyway, or to myself. I don't think I talked about on stream. This again, obviously, we had massive, nice expansion upwards, nice movement, nice displacement, whatever X, Y, Z word you want to use towards the resistance. And it's like, okay, cool, yeah, okay. You look at this and go, oh well, we have these expansionary candles, and yes, oh well, we'll probably find some support in these candles. No, okay, we've just got above, and we've come to resistance. Okay, we've done we're in this period are the highest we've ever been in this local period. This is the highest we've ever been for Bitcoin. Why are we going to find support and pump when we have resistance? And we've come above this line here. You know what I mean? And yes, okay, when you're deep in discount, absolutely. Okay, but when you've come to resistance where you want to aim for a reversal, and this looks like the most promising area, there's a higher chance. Okay, it's not it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be 100%. There's a lot higher chance that you're not going to use this as a support and you're going to reverse it. And the idea is, okay, you can reverse this and actually use it as resistance, which is what it looked like we did here, which I marked out, and I think I had this area marked out anyway in terms of this gap area, which I had drawn as well. Generally, whatever I had drawn, whatever you had drawn, I think my general area was always going to be about 112. Obviously, we had higher at 112, 600 at the top end of this, but it was generally in this area. Okay, this 112 and a half area, which we talked about last stream. And obviously, if we shimmy this across, I think it was obviously Tuesday, so I think we were still talking over here. And yes, okay, we had some of these resistances, we were coming past this high. Oh, okay, well, it looks like we're going to do this. And what I did do with this area actually is talk about, obviously, we had a incredible expansion. So if we were to draw premium discounts here, we didn't get towards this area, for example, in terms of this this area, which actually is also going to be a bit of support, not a permanent support, but obviously I've drawn it out. We can see we're kind of using the midpoint support. I don't think it's going to be holding. I think we're going to be reversing this more than fine, but obviously still marking it out. We had this massive candle. I think even on some of the lower time frames, this was still the same candle, as you can see. Like we had, or maybe within 10-minute candles. So you can see, like, it's just absolutely ripped in this area. So kind of clear cut, we're going to have support in this area using this. So we didn't come to any sort of equilibrium in this case, which obviously it's never 100%. You're never going to always have a deep retracement every single time, but the general idea anyway, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. I don't really care. I didn't really care what we're doing here. I more cared about us having our journey on the way upwards towards this kind of area, 111.6, maybe targeting some of the highs, or the main resistance area being this reversal, finding this resistance area and coming towards it, which we did very nicely. Obviously, if we look at the 4 hour where we printed, we can see obviously we did come to the top end of this. We did print very nicely at this midline area. I don't know what's happened then. The midline area of this, and obviously we have now had a very good response of this area. Coming down on the 4 hour, yeah, okay, the main low on the 4 hour, we do have these lows which on the lower time frames are going to be main lows, but on the 4 hour, the main low is clearly going to be this 107 area. Because of the 1 hour, you can clearly see, okay, we have a decent low, this 110 area, which obviously we had this massive dump, printed past this low, had a little bit of retracement, but this is good price action. I have looked at good versus, or strong versus weak movements, and obviously the difference between the bounce between the down move versus the retracement. So, for example, this obviously, this expansion downwards, there's so many words to use the same, so many words to describe the same thing. This massive move downwards, basically. Obviously, we're starting this downtrend. We found this resistance. We are going to start coming downwards. So it's the balance between the down move and then the retracement on the way up. Because normally, obviously, downtrend, to certain extremes of whether it's a big retracement or a small retracement, you normally have that down move to a retracement down move. It's normally, that's how you trend. You trend downwards, trend upwards, or obviously you're across. Obviously in this, we can see we kind of came across here, came upwards and came down, but whatever. In the example of a downtrend or an uptrend, it's the balance between how big you move down in a downtrend, how big you move down versus that little retracement. You can see how great this price action is, where we have these massive expansions. If we go to the 4 hour, we can probably see a bit bigger candles here. Actually, probably not on the 4 hour, but probably on the 2 hour, that might be a bit better. Actually, I want to see. Yeah, we can kind of see we had a gap here, which we filled and then came down. But whatever. I think I'm on the 4 hour. There we go. Oh no, There we go. Yeah. So again, same thing. You know, down, small retracement, down again, really big, and it's getting bigger. You know, it's like, okay, these are decent. You know, decent move down. It's getting bigger. These candles are getting bigger. So we're really ripping. Again, obviously we have found support at the midline. Again, it's very similar to how we had here on the 4 hour. Just aiming for that midline. Finding that support. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Again, obviously you can see on the 1 hour, we did have a bit of a gap here. We have started to fill that. I do want to look at the 2 hour though and see how it's going. Yeah, we can see if it adds the candles together. Obviously two 1 hour candles are going to be 2 hours. We can see we've kind of filled that. You could probably draw a retracement sort of thing, but again, we are absolutely ripping downwards. Even from here, you can draw this. We got nowhere near it. We are properly expanding downwards because again, this 1 hour. There we go. This is proper expansionary. Like obviously you want to aim for you come down, you want to aim for the 50%, but this is like what we produced on the way downwards with these candles was massive. So we only barely even got up and just filled this until we expand again. So again, I would expect this to be a very fast move towards these lows. Simple. Very simple, just continuing towards those lows. And I don't think this is realistically going to be a support which holds us. It could be a place which holds us, absolutely. But I don't think it's going to be an area where we're going to see, oh yeah, this is our support, that's it. You know, we've stopped the move down. This is our low, and we're going to come upwards because we have started this reversal. And you know, we'll find support here, yeah, cool. But I mean, there's plenty of times, dependent on the context of the market, where you can find these support areas. And again, this is a massive support area. You can see, obviously, we filled some of this expansion move ups. Had a massive move downwards. Obviously, filled this gap, for example, and then had a massive move upwards. This is support, and obviously we have used it as support. I'm not denying that. But I think in the context of the market and where we've come from and what we're doing on the higher time frames, which obviously is very important, the higher time frames, we are coming downwards, and we are really ripping downwards. So I think based on that context, I don't think I can rightfully say, oh yeah, well, you know, I don't care what the market's doing because this is our support, you know, yada yada yada, that's it, you know, we're done. I think we're continuing downwards. So again, a good checkpoint to aim for. Again, midpoint of the support point, or this order block in this case. Absolutely cool, used it. I think we'll continue downwards though. That's it really. And the general idea is, okay, you come above, you have your high to the low. Your low comes towards some sort of support. I think we actually had we have equal lows, I think, down here, which is obviously another important thing here. I think I have that drawn on a different chart. Very equal lows here. Going to be a really good target to aim for. We actually have this area here of support, which we kind of came to. I think I drew this on the 4 hour. And did I draw this on the 4 hour instead? I'm not sure actually. I think I drew this on the daily, but it's a general support area. Nonetheless, you can see we have this expansion. I think if I go to a different time frame, you can see in this expansionary move, fulfilling this move upwards, had a little retracement before we pumped, and you can see if we draw this across, we can see we form this, we come back and hold support, and then continue upwards. So we have kind of had a little stopping point. Again, not saying it's going to be an area which keeps us up and is it, but obviously, like I alluded to in the intro, I do want to kind of look at the higher time frames to see, because again, the downtrend has been fine. You know, it's not been, we've just come down in a straight line, and like the chances of us coming right back upwards is decently high. We've had a normal move downwards, especially forming this resistance here. Obviously, having the high and the low, taking that high and taking the low. This is going to be a resistance area in between here. We can see where it's really shoddily drawn. If I draw the actual low, there we go. We can see we're kind of using it. We haven't printed fully. We haven't done it exactly. Again, it's you know, it's interpretation that the 112k area is the target for a certain resistance area in this case. Obviously, this being a kind of a reversal resistance area, if you will, where you take both lows and highs in the same regard and use it as resistance. So I drew that out. I think I drew that out 2 streams ago anyway. So, you know, it's something it's not like I've just talked about it. In terms of the daily, again, not really anything. This move has been similar to every other move, and it's like we haven't, relative to the daily, how many candles we've been moving down. We've been moving fine. It's not what we've been moving down for a whole year, and I do think we are going to continue to do this. I do think we are going to be continuing to target different areas on the way down. Again, obviously we have these lows, equal lows here. We do have some lows down here, probably some gap areas on the way down. I think I have some other areas drawn. Obviously, we have our imposing doom area, which obviously we have talked about. We have talked about this whole retracement towards this area. Obviously, this entire candle relatively being a good area to focus on. We've talked about this. I'm not gonna say yibby yabber about it every single time I stream, but I still think we are on this way down. I still think we are on this way down. We've had that move down. Again, this is just a relation to what we've already looked at on the daily. We've had that move down. We've had that higher low in these gap areas. Obviously, we had the order blocks on the lower time frame. We've had this retracement. We've had this print past a low. We're having a lower high here. We are absolutely ripping downwards on the lower time frames. We don't really have much support here. Yes, we did have a little bit of a gap here, but I don't think that's going to be stopping us in any regard. Yes, we did have that support on the on that massive order block we had. Yep, absolutely. We've had a bit of a retracement from here. Again, I think we're continuing lower. That's pretty much it. And yeah, that's it. I think we're continuing downwards. Again, we're just continuing downwards. There's not really much to say about it, realistically. So yeah, in terms of the higher time frame, again, yeah, we did have. I think I remember looking at this candle, but again, it's not going to be what stops us going down. We're going to go to 125k. I do still think we're continuing downwards. So again, yeah, this was a bit more of an update-esque review, because again, obviously we already talked about this. Was new stuff I talked about last stream, Tuesday anyway. So yeah, again, it's just kind of me updating how it's gone so far in terms of what I talked about, and it's gone pretty well. Again, obviously Tuesday being this candle back here, obviously we still continued upwards, found the resistance, and then obviously it's come down. So yeah, I think we're continuing downwards, absolutely. So excuse me, I'm awfully sorry about that, everybody. I'm very sorry. I drink some water there. I need to read the chat as well. I have not read the chat in a while. I'll probably move on to Ethereum in a second. Let me scroll up again. So people are still talking about 10 to 11% for me in terms of Liberty Finance. Could be. Again, I haven't looked at it since last stream, and it's not like I was looking on a daily time frame and a lot has changed. I was looking at the 15-minute, and it probably has a lot changed. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of price action. If I'm not using like standard deviations, for example, it's gonna be very hard for me to look at targets when I don't have any price action to go off of. But I can slightly use some sort of price action in terms of standard deviations. Again, we have used standard deviations before to try and target certain highs, which we used obviously back here. We used standard deviations. I think back here, I don't know if we had any standard deviation for this. I could probably bring it back up actually. We didn't really have anything. Obviously, we used this one nicely, but best I can really do is a standard deviation, which isn't really going to be price action. It's not going to be really anything set in stone. And when you're trading like obviously we're not pre-market anymore, but when you're trading a pre-market or looking at I did look at pre-market for Liberty Finance on certain platforms. When you're looking at that sort of stuff, and then you're looking at new price action, it's very hard for me to give a confident, confidently say anything about Liberty Finance in terms of a bottom when I don't know price action, and I literally would just only have to go off of, a standard deviation, let's say. So it could be 10-11%, absolutely. But I could probably have a look at standard deviations in a bit. Let's see if Bitcoin will go more down before 17th September. If rate cut will be good, maybe for the go up. Yeah, that could be definitely. I do think there is definitely going to be a stopping point for us to go down. Again, that makes sense. There's going to be a target to aim for when you go down, which stops you. And again, that's one of the things I've been saying on so many different, pretty much consistently every stream I've said so far. You go down until there's a reason to stop. You go up until there's a reason to stop. Why do you have a reversal? You have certain scenarios where you have a reversal. Obviously, we had, we have different reasons why we stop to go down, and whether that be the stopping point, or whether that just be a kind of a checkpoint position. And it's like, for example, this pump over here. If you're, and this is obviously why I think I know I've said this in other streams, and you're probably really bored of me saying the same thing in terms of looking at this candle in particular. And the importance of looking at different time frames and reasons. Obviously, we had this low, and also zooming out and looking on a wider scale, and just looking a bit. Take yourself out of the situation for a bit and just look at what you have, price action as a whole, instead of just individual 4-hour segments. Because obviously we had the lows over here, which obviously we took with this move, and we can see it a lot better on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. But on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, this move didn't make sense. But on the daily, it made perfect sense. Obviously, we had areas over here. For example, we had we had this support area down here. On the 4 hour, we had this retracement. On the daily, it does look like it's just a singular candle. But on the 4 hour, we had a move downwards, and then this candle was a move upwards, which covered this. So it was this individual candle, which obviously we did use as support. Again, we came to the midpoint, came upwards, filled some of this void which we had on lower time frames, continued downwards. But then we had these areas. So in this regard, talking about let me move that out of the way. Instead of talking about why are you stopping, certain areas. This was just continuous down close. This was continuous us moving downwards, and there wasn't really much reason to stop. And reviewing, obviously, back when we were talking in this area, the only area I had was drawing this area here. And you can see, obviously we had our smaller time frame supports and resistances, absolutely. But on the daily, we continued to print downwards. And the only first green candle we had was finding that support in this area where we found that midpoint. And then obviously we went past the low. We found a bit of more of an up close. But again, all it really was just finding that low, which obviously we printed finally, and then producing that higher low until we continued downwards. And obviously these different areas, we have a gap over here, which obviously we filled, actually up closed, found resistance. Over here, we had some lows here as well. We also had this order block as well, which you can see, relative to what time frame. We're nearing the midpoint, printing it near enough the top, and then obviously continuing upwards, and then we continue downwards. So it's kind of just, we've started this reversal now, we've stopped the uptrend, and now we're just finding different areas in previous price action to find our lows at and find areas to take before we obviously retrace higher for a lower high and then continue downwards. But there is going to be somewhere on this previous price action which is going to be the stopping point. And obviously, there's this, people can think whatever they want. If you look on the weekly anyway, it's like, okay, we can see it a bit clearer from the accumulation of the daily candles. And I think, for me personally, yes, this low is going to be very important at 98. And then from there, it's this 90k gap, which obviously, as we've already drawn previously on the weekly, coming below this low, coming towards this area, yes, absolutely 98 could be the target. This is technically below equilibrium. This could definitely be a target. But a deeper target, which I think could be targeted for, and obviously we'll have to see as it goes, is this 90k area. I definitely think this is going to be something Bitcoin's going to really want to come to before a major low in this uptrend we've had. And again, this isn't something crazy to say. This is just us coming up and coming down at the end of the day. So, yeah, I definitely think we are going to come down. I definitely think there is going to be a time frame or a time position where we're eventually going to meet that point where we stop and then continue higher. But obviously, again, this is on the weekly. This will take some time. But I definitely think, that will have a immediate effect on the market. Will it be the reversal point? Again, obviously, we will see. But again, obviously, the economic expert in the quote unquote room is going to be Mike. Although I did take A-level economics, it's different. The more purist approach is going to be Mike. So again, he will probably definitely think, oh yeah, boom, yep, here's the interest rate cut. Yep, this is going to have an immediate effect on the market. Boom, everyone's going, oh, this, that, the other. Or this is going to have a longer term effect on the market as things play out and people actually start to seek value in that cut. If there is a cut, obviously XYZ, and it might in turn affect Bitcoin. But I can go on, or I'm the chart guy, I am the chart guy, so I can only look at the charts, and all I can say is, I think we're continuing downwards until we see that stopping point. So, unless we've dumped the 90k by the 17th, whenever it is, that could be the stopping point as well. But anyway, let's look at the chat. Danny's here. Shouts Danny. Good evening to you as well. It's nice to have people here. There's actually quite a few people here. Obviously Tuesday, some of you were here, to be fair. But it's nice to see some people here. Thank you all for being here. Nice close for the weekly liquidity gap, I think. Yeah, LG liquidity gap. Rebalance, then send it lower. Yeah. I could probably go on the weekly and find this. Is this... It's somewhere. I believe you, yeah. Or not, I'm not saying I wouldn't believe you, but I know what you mean. It's the same ilk of finding to fulfill these gaps and find resistances. Absolutely. Again, the agreement of lower, I can concede on. Absolutely. I do think we are continuing downwards. Sell everything and buy pump. Well, there's finance. Do not do that. My plan to take every week $500 to $100 on Bitcoin next 4 months. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think, and again, I know I talk a lot, and I know a lot of what I say doesn't make sense. And I say things which have meaning if you know what they mean. And I say, order block, equilibrium, whatever, other things. I think if you can infer, and I know I yap a lot, and that's why I'm saying infer, because I say a lot of things and there might not be a lot of meaning behind them. I should probably say the value. 107,245 is my next target anyway. I do think hopefully you could find value if it's just normal buying. I definitely think if you're buying in due to obviously retracement, finding an area and then continuing upwards, absolutely. So yeah, I think that could be on the next 4 months as we have this retracement, getting in and then selling up on the way out, absolutely. Don't think this is the financial advice. Yes, none of this financial advice. Okay, do not. I personally wouldn't buy the pump on Well Liberty Finance. I wouldn't even buy Well Liberty Finance as a whole. Not financial advice. You know what I mean? And probably I'm not thinking straight for eating the frog. Interesting, Kishan. What's the plan of performance? Sell everything? Nope. Hold Bitcoin next 1 year. It's the plan, man. I focus. DCA. Yeah, absolutely. I think once you've bought it all, you don't want to sell immediately. I think you want to. It'll take that period of time to come down towards optimum areas, and then it's going to take equal, if not more. Probably more anyway. Not equal. It's not going to take 4 months to go to all-time highs, but it's in like to find the top area. It's going to take longer than 4 months. Yes, absolutely. Buy on this way down. If you're someone who's buying and holding, and it's not just a long or a short or XYZ, you're trading intraday, just buy. You know, if the general consensus is down and you don't really care about the specifics, the only reason I talk about specifics is because of people who care about specifics, and I care about specifics and individual intraday movements. I care about. You need to care about those specifics. But if you're just buying and selling over a long period plan, just buy as they're going down. And then once we stop that going down, maybe slow down the buying. And then obviously as we start to reverse and come up with another higher time frame, just wait, and sell. That's it. Anyway, and what time is it? 24. Okay, I've got enough time. So Ethereum, what we've been talking about so far. We have support. My theory has been, and I could be wrong, but I think Benjamin Karen has the same theory. So if that absolute robot, oh, no, that's rude. That absolute monk, no. People, a lot of people agree with him, and he has his methods, and people agree with him, and he's a well-respected person in the predictory market of markets, the market of people looking at the markets. He is well-respected, and if he's saying the same thing as me, I feel happy. If I hear down the grapevine from Mike that he's saying the same thing as me, happy days. And what I've been saying and what he's been saying. So if this goes wrong and you hate me and you want to shoot me, make sure you shoot him as well. Okay, that's what I'm saying. He thinks we're going to have one more leg up. I think we're going to have one more leg up. And that's just a theory, okay? But I do think we have one more move upwards. Now, we are in this move down. Yes, obviously on daily, we are moving down, moving down. We do have some support. We have some area of buy, XYZ. There's so many ways of saying the same thing. I don't know, there's something internally which flinches when I say liquidity. I don't know why. Because it's just like, it's such a... The idea, the concept of it versus the keyword of it, for me, my brain feels so separated when I say it. So I don't want to say it. Buy area, as well, I'll say. This buy area, we have this move down, and then we have this move up. And this is obviously related. We were supposed to do the whole candle, and yes, this was probably... I wonder where it sits if we do the entire move. It sits pretty nice where we are right now, actually, to be fair. Now I'm looking at it. But... Anyway, there's different time frames with different areas. I don't care about that. I'm not going to draw it. We have this individual candle. We have propulsion. We have another area. And that's the reason I have it drawn. I think there must be another area on the 4 hour. We do probably have something in here. But the idea is high time frame. We have support. We use it as support. We continue upwards. This is now also going to be support, is the idea. So we've drawn that. And what do we have on this series of candles? I think I had this drawn on the daily with that singular candle. We have support. We have support. We have support. Okay, now we are still coming downwards. And again, I was saying this on my last stream. We have this, obviously, area of support. We had different areas. Again, and I was saying this on my last stream as well. The more it continues upwards, again, you don't go up forever. The higher continuation of a propulsion from a propulsion, it's like it's not going to be strong. It's not going to be so much permanent. Because again, if it was permanent, you'd be going up forever, or you'd be going down forever. You constantly find resistance, constantly support, and you'd never reverse them. So the idea is, you have these strong areas, and you continue to find support on the way upwards, and XYZ use them and whatnot. But the main area was definitely this big one on the high time frame. And what I was saying was on the high time frame, or last stream on the high time frame, was I think we are going to continue downwards into this area. Now, what I have of interest, coming from Tuesday, which was this candle coming to the... Obviously, we did wick to the midpoint of the daily order block. We have printed at the midpoint. There's different areas, different targets, XYZ, whatever. But I was interested in the idea. Obviously, in this case, yes, we did have this high and we did print above it, and then we did continue downwards. But we are trying to get up. Okay, and I think the difference between here and the other one is on the translation on the daily, these are just little wicks, but obviously on the 4 hour, it looks like we did print upwards and print downwards. But we have had a good successful print above, obviously, this high on the 4 hour. And I know, again, we are aiming for this low, so it's probably foolish to talk about it. But I do think we are slowing down for Ethereum. And again, I think obviously we fill this area. We had the retracement from the high to the low. We are in the area again. Again, if we kind of draw this across, it sits about here. We are still in this area. We are sitting quite cleanly. And I do think the us continuing to produce these highs and highs and highs and highs as we go in this area. And to be fair, do you know what? We could probably even draw a little range across it, doing this. I think it's going to get to the point where we find our max low, and we're going to find our support area, and we are going to be aiming towards highs again. Will it be permanent? Will it be something where it's going to be constant highs and, oh yeah, well, even though everything else is going down, Ethereum is going to be constantly going upwards, 12k here we come? No, I don't think so. But I do think, based on the difference, obviously, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum have very different scenarios. Absolutely. If you compare Ethereum price action over, if you go weekly, for example, look at the weekly, and yes, again, obviously, Bitcoin's weekly has had these massive moves and massive whatevers. But if you really look at the actual relative move from this low, slightly not really exactly relative to Bitcoin, it's just been up. It's just been up. And yes, we have had this area here. These areas, 2,700 again is going to be the area for a max low. I do think we have one more try. If we look at the weekly, we did have a little bit of a gibby gap over here, which we did fill. Coming towards it again now. But it doesn't really matter, to be fair. The main thing is looking at daily and the 4 hour, and I do think for me, it is going to be a period. We're going to hit a period at some point where I do think we're going to reverse and have one more leg upwards. It's not, and I think for me, it's not like we have had an unsuccessful swing in any regards. Solana did have this, and Solana did actually continue upwards. Solana was in a worse case than Ethereum in terms of we had, not relative to the exact time frame, but we had a scenario where we had a high and then we had a lower high. And we failed to get above this high, and then we started to have a bit of a breakdown. And then we still pumped, and Solana was in a lot worse of a position than Ethereum, and still managed to continue back upwards. And again, another thing for me is we haven't significantly done anything on the down move, which has led to me to see a massive resistance area, or an area where we have massive difficulty, and we're going to have massive difficulty if we were to try to get back upwards. On the daily anyway. 4 hour, not really on the 4 hour anyway. Like, we don't really have much to target. It's like, there's not that much difficulty, I don't think. Obviously, we had a bit of a rejection block here, which was a gap on the daily. We used that. That's not really there. Whole gap here, we obviously completely ignored, actually. I'm not gonna lie, we completely ignored it. And obviously, we've just kind of been in this. We had this daily high, low to the high. And from what it looks like, it's just this low to the high. And we've kind of just been in this downtrend to come towards this area. So I do think we could have that one more move upwards. And you might disagree with me. And that's just what I think. Okay. So that's kind of what I've been talking about over the past couple of streams. In terms of relative to last stream to now, to give a little bit of an update. There we go. I need to get my words out. Tuesday 10 was here, so we just came upwards. We printed above this. We formed more high. We just have this area here. Going to be a great target, I think. An absolutely beautiful target. We do have a gap here, actually. I didn't even see that. And we just did a high here. We did print above this, which was obviously, good for, I suppose, maybe. Or even though we're looking like we're aiming for this low. And we've just started to come downwards again and come right back to the support area we had on here. So we've come back to support. Again, I was saying on last stream that I do think we could even come as low as the previous or the higher time frame daily support point in terms of the midpoint anyway, which is about 4,200. Maybe even have a little bit of a wick past the extreme low. Well, no, this is not extreme low. This is the extreme low. But some of these lows anyway, and come a bit deeper. I do think we can do that, absolutely. But I think if you look at the actual trend, if you look at just this and not at the individual candles on the lower time frame, just the 4 hour on the major highs and lows, we failed to swing past. So I do think we could continue downwards. So I know I said we printed past this, and it could be showing signs. And I do think in terms of us having equal high, we're not expanding downwards. And remember what we're talking about with Bitcoin, and why I'm so confident we're coming towards that low is we're doing this. That is the move we're doing. That's some of the most extreme price action I've seen as of late in the last couple of streams. It's some of the most expansionary move downwards. If you compare Ethereum, especially with the down move we had, we nearly even printed past this high here. Like we've had a really meh move downwards. We've not really been doing much, and then we had expansion upwards. Obviously now we are, to be fair, expanding downwards now, but in most of these moves the retracements have been somewhat equal to the expansions downwards. I do think we are slowing down, and if you look at the relative lows, we've not really had much of a movement. So I do think we can again target these areas, maybe wick past some of these lows below us, especially some of these lows here and this low. I do think we can do that, but I think we are definitely slowing down. But it doesn't mean, but we haven't had an actual print above the high, so technically we haven't started a 4-hour up. We haven't printed past the high, retraced to a higher low. We haven't started that. So from all I can see, just based on the charts, I do think we are going to. And again, obviously it's hindsight XYZ. And all we're literally $30 away, whatever it is. Maybe not even that, $20 away from the low. So it's very easy for me to say that now. But we have failed to swing past the high. So I do think we are going to be printing past this low. But I'm still confident in the fact that we can see a higher low in this trend and see this up move, down move, massive expansion, printing past the high, important, taking these equal highs. And again, it's like, I'm not surprised we barely got above this. This was the all-time high. This was the second all-time high. These were equal highs on the second all-time high. We had triple equal highs on the second all-time high and the all-time high, and we just got past it. So I'm not surprised. It's like getting beaten up by 12 lions, and it's like, oh, well, why didn't you kill 11 lions? It's like, okay, well, he's getting killed by 12 lions here. Like, he beat 4 up. Okay, let's give him praise. All right, let's give Ethereum praise here. We got past triple equal highs and an all-time high all in one move in this expansionary candle, and did it with style. We did it with absolute swag here. You can see this absolute move. We did it with absolutely style here. So I think we can give Ethereum its due and expect a continuation downwards. Look at these wicks. We're not doing anything. Like we're not expanding downwards. We're not actually moving really downwards. We're holding in this. We're floating in the water, and this could even mean one thing. And if you look, we have these equal highs, relative equal lows. Obviously, we had this massive wick. This is kind of a consolidatory area. It could even mean a massive move up or a massive move down. But again, we are treading water in this support area, and I do think if we target these quadruple highs here, even quintuple highs here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we could target quintuple highs here. You can see it's on the way down as well. We have quintuple highs here. I do think we'll find support. I think we're going to rush up here, find a lower high, continue upwards. Have one more rush for that high. But again, once we do that, we're not really going to have much support here. Unless we expand upwards and continue upwards, I think we are going to start to retrace. And if we retrace past what we're doing now, we're retracing past this low. If we're retracing past 4,000, we've printed past one of the higher time frame lows. And if we're doing that, we're going to be starting a downtrend. So that's why I think we have one more move upwards. And if Benjamin Cameron's saying that, I'm saying it. Okay, I have. That's why, I have my guardian angel of Tuesday. Okay, of Benjamin Cowan to fall back on. Oh, well, Ben Cowan said it, so it's not just me, guys. I'm not fully wrong. He said it as well. If you're gonna hate me, hate him. So yeah. Anyway, so what was it? It was Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday 10 here. Here it was. Okay, cool. So what do we do? Let's go to the 1 hour. We had the high, low, high, low, high. Simple, great, brilliant. 185 to 218. We do have the resistance. I don't know if I've got it drawn. Okay, here it is, yeah. So we had this order block area. I did draw this rectangle so you can see it. We came to the midpoint, found resistance, came to the high, wick past, but resistance at the high. Very similar to what we've done with Bitcoin, kind of, where we've printed at the midpoint. We did kind of wick up to the high, found the high. I think we are going to, and similar to how Bitcoin had with the resistance, even though, again, this is a high time for resistance, and we are technically getting up above that equilibrium point, I do want to aim higher towards the gap area 224. We do have a bit of a lower high here. Let's pretend. Okay, this is getting messy now. This is when I jump ship. This is when I jump ship from the charts. Because it's getting messy now. Because we had I think we might have, I don't know, what do we have here? Okay, we had this 1 hour gap. We came to midpoint. We used it. Came up highs, wick past high. Came down, support, high, low to the high, support, failed swing. We did come past a plethora of highs here on the way upwards. So I'm going to delete that now. We did use that. Come down. It's not like we've printed past 194. We do have support. We do have this candle down, which came past this low and into this one. So proportion block also came past these lows. We came past areas of importance, all these lows. We came past, pumped upwards. We can see we used it here. I know it's very hard. I do apologize. It's hard to see this. I'm not gonna lie. Came up, came down, used. Obviously came past all these highs and whatnot. And then we had this drawn. I think that's supposed to be there. I think. Oh no, it's the. Okay, I'll just do it on the 1 hour because we have these candles all the way coming down into this support. We came to actually nearly the midpoint of this area, maybe like 10 pence off. Pumped again, did come past these highs. So technically, so far on the 1 hour, we're fine. 4 hour, we haven't printed past that low, so we're technically fine. Although we did fail to get past this high. And again, this is kind of same thing we had. Where was it? We had the same thing somewhere. I think it was on. Yeah, same thing here. Where okay, we didn't print past this high, and we failed. We whipped past it. We failed to print. Not good. You know, we want that. We want that clean print high, print low, print high, print low. But it doesn't necessarily mean we're in a downtrend because obviously we actually had these equal lows here. I think on the 4 hour we had some lows. We kind of came down a bit and then pumped again. I swear I looked at this and there was something here. Maybe it wasn't. Whatever. We found support. Whatever. And obviously we continued back upwards and then aimed and continued past the high. So it was fine, even though it didn't look fine. I do think we could more than happily find that again. And the same with here actually as well. It's like, okay, we had this high, we didn't print past it. We just found a higher low and printed past it here. So we're fine. I don't think it's bad. And I do still think we could be targeting that main gap we've had all that time ago, 126, 125. We had all that time ago. I looked back at the previous price action and we had 223-ish area with this gap. I think it might be on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. So again, a good target. So yes, okay, on the 1 hour, we have had lows slowed down, printed past the low here, failed, continued downwards, highs, gap, not good, not great, not easy. Support. Okay, let's allow that. And again, print low. We printed past all these highs, so we're technically going up, even though we're retracing and we have printed past this low. That's fine. Okay, so we are retracing. We are in this area. We are doing good. And on the 4 hour, we're doing fine, absolutely fine. And we have this support area, and it's very messy, and it's about $201. I know it's very messy. So even though it doesn't look great, it might not look great. We haven't printed above the highs. We have these equal highs. We haven't printed. We're not doing bad. Okay. If you really consider that the downtrend on the 4 hour, we have these highs, we've printed past them, we're doing fine. So I still think we're going up. I still think we're doing great. And I do think we are going to be targeting the highs. So there's not really much to update on Solana here. We did form that gap. We have formed these gaps I think I actually even talked about. So all we've really done is this and this. So we've had that high. We've took all these highs, these kind of like trend highs on the way down. And we've just retraced. And that's pretty much it. So I'm not going to, again, I'm going to stream Saturday, so there's not really much to update here. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, and I've got like 8 minutes. 8 minutes? How do I have 8 minutes for? I've maybe started late or something. Oh, I started the stream late to be fair, so maybe that's why. Anyway, I can now move on to other charts. So I've got Syrup, Sui. That's pretty much it. So what I'll do, Syrup, and I'm interested in Syrup actually. I do want to look at Syrup because we failed to get past the low. And we've started to come upwards. And we kind of did this last time in terms of printing. We did, I think it was on the daily, I think it was actually, yeah. Oh, yeah. Where we had, we had the lows here. And we didn't print past them. And we came upwards. And still trying to target that low. And we did come down. But you can see, again, same thing. And I think I did not. Did I talk about? I remember talking about the retracement. Fine. I did talk about this actually. I remember we talked about these highs and whatnot, and then I remember talking about this. So I think I remember talking about even though we didn't come past these lows and print past them, we could still be in this down move. And obviously we did that. We did this low. We failed by a smidgen to get past this low. It's like watching. I can't think of anything. It's sad. Okay, it's sad. I don't know if I think it's over. Okay, it's over. The target was 38.47. We hit 38.69. We barely got there. it's sad. You know, it's rough price action when you really look at the weekly. It's rough. Obviously, you know, it's a very variant price action. What if on the 17th this month a god candle on Bitcoin, as many expect, fall on Bitcoin? Is in if everyone thinks we go down, and the likely chances, oh yeah, everyone thinks one thing and the market always does the opposite. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if it's is there a unanimous agreement that that it's like middle of September we see? Again, obviously, I know there is the actual economic situation going on which could affect the price. I mean, I don't know. It's like, would this on a decrease? Would it actually? How much of an effect would it actually have on Bitcoin? This is actually a question. I don't know if Mike's still him. I don't know if Mike actually. I think he has a stream on the background. I don't think he actually listens. So yeah, I can't really ask him. But what's the historical effect, magnitude, of something like this happening in the market to Bitcoin? Here's my question. We actually have a gap here on the daily I just saw, which actually came to the midpoint. Should have drawn that. Damn it. Anyway. So again, if that is something which is historically pretty much every single time, you know, 85% of the time has concluded, or has resulted even in something like that happening, absolutely. But I think on the same ilk, you could say the same thing on the opposite regard, where okay, everyone thinks an interest rate cut will cause Bitcoin to pump all the way back up again and break out of everything and go towards highs. If everyone thinks that as well, is a bit of a paradox here, because it's like, okay, well, if we're saying, if everyone thinks one thing and one thing happens and that is what happens, not saying it is, but that's what is expected to happen, could you not say the exact same thing on the opposite end, where everyone, would you not say people would think on a whole that if an interest rate cut happened, the price would go up? And I think to a certain data standpoint, on just a very a very 1D level, interest rate cut, easier people buy, risk on asset, Bitcoin go up, simple. Yes, I think there's a lot of steps in that. Oh, I think there's a lot of obfuscation in that steps. It's not. I don't think it's a direct effect. And I think people, you can think it's a direct effect, but I think the amount of times we've had on the double-edged sword here, the amount of times people have thought one thing based on economic data and it's just done the opposite thing. Could you not also say, oh, technically, well, you know, we could have a devil candle? Is that a thing? I feel like I've said that before. What's the opposite to a god candle? What's I know I'm completely going. I've spent 5 minutes not doing the charts. I do apologize. I'm just really interested in what the opposite of a god candle is. Is there not a thing? Is this not a thing? Is there no? I've said devil candle in my life. And I know I talked to Mike about this. I said, what is the... I've asked him before. I know explicitly. I know I've asked him specifically what's the opposite to a god. Okay, I'll come back to it, Kishan. Let me do syrup quickly. I know I'm running out of time, and I do want to try to keep to 1 hour because I know I don't want to keep you guys for the rest of your lives. We failed to swing past this high. We haven't printed past the high. Oh, well, actually, we haven't had a print through. Oh, no, well, we have. Let me not pretend. We have on the 4 hour. Yeah, we have. This is the same thing as Solana. Let me not lie. Look at the move upwards. Why am I trying to even defend this? Do you know what I mean? I like to try and look at. I've started to try to do this just to see if it works. Where if you have an imbalance of multiple candles upwards, using. Because I don't use the 8 hour or the 2 hour, but I've started to look at doubling the time and looking at the gap, and I've actually noticed it not being that bad. So, for example, with Bitcoin, actually, we had a gap. I actually looked at it on the stream where we had 1 hour. We had an imbalance. We had this like imbalance. There's multiple candles in one direction with no we did have wicks, but no real wicks. We did have these massive gaps. And looking at it on a absorptive. That's the right way to say that. A time like the 8 hour where it's like, okay, well, 2 4 hour candles will be an 8 hour, and then looking to see if there's a present gap from that expansion. And obviously, you can see that again. Obviously, we are starting to come down, and we have wick past a high here. On the obviously this is the 8 hour. To be fair, this is the 4 minute. I don't want the 4 minute. This is the 3 hour. I don't want the 3 hour. There we go. We have come back that. Excuse me. I don't know what's happened then. We have come past the high. We've done equal highs up here. We have some highs we've taken. So we are starting to come down. If we draw a little bit of a retracement, we have some equal highs. That's going to be a really nice thing to target. What do we have? Let's see. We have equal bottoms here as well. We don't really have anything in these candles which are coming down to suggest this is a major support area. We don't really have... We're not wicking past anything. We're not coming to anything important. We're not coming to an area of interest. I think you could probably argue in... No, not really. There's nothing. This isn't really a support point. Maybe on the daily, there might be something. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me draw it. You could argue, okay, we came past these highs. This is resistance on a lower time frame. We down. No. We don't. Nope. No support. Okay, so we don't have anything in this. Realistically, we don't have anything. No support here. We have equal lows. There's not technically anything here. This isn't really an area of interest or anything of the sorts. We can look back and see if there's a propulsion block. We have these lows. We have this gap. We have this down move. We have this printing above these highs. So we do have something here. We can see we kind of come back up into it in the midpoint. We can see we've printed the midpoint here. So we do have something. Okay, there we go. There's actually a lot of chat all of a sudden. I haven't a clue. Yeah, I don't know. There should be. It happened with Bitcoin. They said always negative, but Bitcoin keeps going pumping. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, people say something go down, it go up. People say something go up, it go down. It's like, I think there's plausible arguments to think either way. And that's why, a lot of people don't trade news or don't trade economic data. People do, absolutely. But I know there is a lot of people who's like, I don't want to trade economic data because it's this. And you can have a pump and then a dump in economic data because of that same reason of, okay, interest rate go down, people happy money, people happy risk on money, Bitcoin risk on asset, people buy risk on asset, people buy Bitcoin. Okay? Chain, agreement, corridor commitment, absolutely. Okay? But then people go, okay, well, people... And then here's monkey number 2. Okay, well, people think thing go up. Me no think people think good. Me think thing go down because me think everyone else think me thing go up, but other people, big people, think thing go down. People think thing happen equal price go up. Me thinks this don't mean exact price go up. Me won't go down. And I think you can agree. I think you could probably say the same thing on both ends. Anyway, 1075 bottom for Bitcoin. I think we want to come past that. I can't remember. I think it was 1072 was my low. But obviously, we go down until we have a reason to stop. And I don't know if this is a straight line to 90k, XYZ. So obviously there's probably something somewhere. But yeah. I'm not saying it's not a... I don't know, and this is the thing. It's like I don't know the future, and this is this is what I was saying. This is the very reason why I know there's quite a few people who don't trade data, and there's always people who are going to be right, and there's always people who could be wrong. So if you think one thing, I think the other. One of us is going to be right. It's just what side are you on? It's like what point do you want to trade on? But I do think you could probably argue both ways. Anyway, at 110k, there's 66k, at 112, they say 90, but Bitcoin always keep on breaking on all-time high. Yeah, I think there's been plenty of times people, and this is obviously just what we're talking about. It's like there's been plenty of times people think one thing go away, and something else happens, and it not be what people think. And I think that's solely the area. And I do agree with that. I think not that there's someone out there who's in the background watching what everyone's saying and then doing the opposite, but there's been a commonality more than once where a lot of people think, or you get the gauge again. You can't see what everyone else says every single person what they say and then accumulate it. Probably some sort of AI bot on Twitter could probably do that, but it's very hard to accumulate every single other person's opinion and collate it into one ticker, if you will. Obviously, there's fear and greed. Greed and fear index. It's not fear and greed. Greed and fear. So that technically is kind of a ticker of feelings, if you will. But yeah, I mean, I think it goes both ways, and obviously we'll think about it as it goes. But anyway, we've printed past all these highs. I think obviously we've more than plentifully started this move upwards. As soon as we printed past 47 cent in this move, this was the move upwards. You know what I mean? So obviously we had this low. We took this low. We just missed this low by nothing, and it is what it is, I suppose. Can't be perfect. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. We're just like even if there was doubt that you printed past these lows in this move, it doesn't matter. Because we had this high, we've printed more than enough high past this. On daily we haven't, yes, but again, think about Solana, same thing happened. We looked at the daily, we failed to swing past the high in print, but on the 4 hour we were more than fine. Same thing here, we're more than fine. And we do have this old order block coming from here, lows here, gap, use, boink, lows, boing, 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 boing. And technically these are also going to be now proportion blocks, where we have equal idea where we have lows and then we have candle which prints back upwards. This is also going to be an area, but again, I'm not really going to bother looking at that. I'm just going to be looking at the main area, and we can see we've used it multiple times, but we have come deeper and deeper into it because again, it's not going to be permanent. I don't think there's areas which will be permanent support, but we can get a general gauge. Like, okay, cool, well, we have some lows here. If we look at the 1 hour, we could probably try and find some other areas to target. It's mainly just lows, realistically all it is. We had a bit of a gap, we've used it, there's nothing there. We did have this low, we did wick past it and print upwards, so there probably could be something on the 1 hour here where we looked at this, we can see we formed it from this low and basically couldn't pass this low realistically, printed upwards, and then we came back down into it with this candle and then pumped right back upwards and then continued on the move upwards. So there could be something at the midline at 45 or at this 4593 area. So I could expect there to be relative reason. What's happened? My tongue just hit the top of my mouth and it made a really weird noise. There could be more. My word's not coming along. There we go. There could be arguments. There's valid reason to stop at certain areas. That's why I think. And this is why it's like, okay, you draw a retracement. You draw, okay, well, realistically, you're supposed to have deep lows and deep highs and have a nice move upwards, but that doesn't always happen. And that is because of I personally believe the sole reason of that is because it's not just about arbitrary 0.5 values or arbitrary 0.705 values. It's more about why price stops at certain areas versus why it doesn't. And there will be a reason for price to stop. For example, that massive pump we had in Bitcoin, and I drew it on Tuesday, and we had this with this move, and it had this massive singular candle, and we only came to here because we came to like the midpoint of the candle. We had the down close, massive move upwards, and we came to like the top of this order block we had here because we came past some lows, we used this move down, came past the low, and then we engulfed it, and then we only came to like 66% of or 33% of the candle before we moved upwards. We got nowhere near this, so it's like, even though I can draw very happily, I can just go like, just throw things at the chart and go, oh, well, look, there's an equilibrium going to come below. And obviously in this case, yes, we are retracing towards equilibrium and so on and so forth. And most of the time, you draw it, and in normal circumstances, it hits. But when you look at those certain other examples where you have this massive move, which has more than valid reason to stop moving at a certain area, then, you have to look at that and really pay attention to that. So what I'm actually interested in, if I go to the 4 hour here, I do want to see if we have a breaker block in this move. So we have in the scenario that we take the high and we take the low, where if we look at this move, we have this high, we have this low, we have this move, we take this should be a support area in theory, obviously not financial advice. So I think you can probably do the up close candles potentially. I don't know, actually I don't really use them too much. I have used them previously and they have worked, but I don't really use them too much, so I think it's just the up close candles. Let's go to the daily here and have a look. Never mind, let's not do that. I'm just gonna draw this, and this sits at the top end of this, so we do have something here. Let's just draw the midpoint of it. I don't want too much mess on my screen. I'm now evenly adding to the mess on my chart. Let's make it red. No, make it green. No. Purple. There we go. So, okay, there's another area here which also just sits at this resistance anyway, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So, I think 46 cent, we're coming to that area. I think that could be a low. I think we'll come up again. But, again, it'd be very foolish for me to say, oh, well, I think we're downtrending. If we look at the 4 hour, we've printed past a really longer term high coming from this resistance area on the lower time frame. We've had a massive expansion upwards. We were retracing. We have valid reason to stop at these areas at support at 46-ish cents. I think we'll continue upwards for SERP and target 51 cent. Absolutely. So again, we'll see how it goes. But from there, again, we have to look back. We have to look at the other areas where we stop at. This is going to be a very interesting high. We have these triple equal highs. We had this gap we filled, and then we dumped. This is going to be a very interesting high for me at 53 cents. So obviously, we'll see how that goes. But that sits there. I'm 11 minutes past 10. I am awful at trading. I'm awful at streams. I'm the worst person ever. And I've kept you guys 11 minutes over 1 hour. I do apologize. Sui, let's look at one last thing before we move on. What we've been talking about. We've been talking since, I don't know when we last looked. Tia, when did you ask me? You're not going to know. It's fine. You might know, actually. When did you ask me to look at Sui? I can't remember when I started drawing. Because obviously, I have price action. Obviously, I've looked at price action before I saw Sui and actually looked at the chart. I can't remember where I started looking at this. I think it might have been around here. Maybe here. I think we started looking in this retracement area. Or maybe here in the downtrend. I can't remember which one it was. I can't remember exactly. But basically, the opinion has been so far, coming from this high, retracing towards, I think, I've talked about $3.15 to $3.10 was one target. And I did say I do see valid reason for us to come towards $2, like $3 in terms of this gap. I feel like an animal doing this. You know what I mean? Like finding the individual gap area. It's kind of like evening out. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe that's not the right thing to do. I don't know. Actually, well, if you just look at the individual gap, it kind of just fills it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? We've come to fill the whole thing anyway. So obviously we have that again. We are still coming downwards. So again, this is why I'm saying I don't know if it's a full stop. But if you look at the 4 hour, I mean, again, we've had previous times where we've printed upwards and printed downwards. Let's go to the daily actually quickly. We've in this period coming past 26 cent. We are now in the period where we're coming to previous bullish buy area targets to focus on, mainly being this low. Again, obviously we drew this high to this low. We found the retracement. We've come past this low. Good. This is good. Obviously, we have targets on the way upwards, but the difference between us just doing this and retracing back upwards from this low to this, this high to this low, and then coming upwards is the fact that we have actually within this period of about 25th of August to now, in this kind of period, we've just come past this equilibrium, and obviously have targeted to continue downwards again towards obviously this gap area, this whole area, going to, and obviously sits about the weekly. Obviously, if we go to the 3 day and just kind of show the average gap area, it sits about here, bottom of it about $2.79. So obviously I have talked about $2.79 previously, but I do think we're getting towards that period, as I've been talking about all the way on the way down, towards $3.15 towards $3.10, where I could expect to start, or $3.10 and onwards within this area. I would expect price to want to start to focus on finding a reversal. So we could maybe push down one more time. If you look at the 4 hour, high to low retracement, we had a little bit of a gap here. We had a tiny little gap here. And see, you know what I mean? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Look, you know what I mean? And this is the problem when I had with gaps, because this is why I draw imbalances, because drawing an imbalance shows you the entire thing. And yes, you can see the imbalance from the green to the green, we have the midpoint. But if we start looking at different time frames, you know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of, you know, when you draw on the walls in crayons and you just like pulling your hair out. It felt like one of those things. Anyway, I'm yapping. Regardless of whatever, if you look at the 8 hour, we have the gap on the 8 hour. We took the high. We took all these highs on this move, and now we've started to come downwards. So if we really look at this move, and obviously we had that 8 hour gap come up above, we filled the rest of this high, whatever, all these areas, and now we're starting to come down again. So, you know, it does I think we're continuing downwards. We haven't had a full reversal on the 4 hour yet. We're still coming downwards. I think, again, this could be our high. I think we're continuing downwards. So I know I was talking about $3.10, $3.15. I do think we are going to come deeper and fulfill more of this 3-day. I don't know if I want to look at this. I feel like I'm. What is this actually? Oh, that's the. I don't want to do that. Oh, stupid. There we go. There we go. I don't. It was the. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have this. We could come down more. We haven't fully, had a nice print up of a high yet. We haven't started an uptrend. You can see, obviously, we had this downtrend, filled the 1 hour gap, daily gap, whatever it was, the individual daily gap. Again, coming to the midpoint of that 3-day gap here, started moving back upwards. Took the highs, took all the whatever, this, that, the others. And then obviously lows, printed a low, expansion downwards, highs, printing past this low, printing past this low. So we've started the downtrend on the 1 hour. We are starting to try and aim towards downtrend on the 4 hour. So I do think we're trying to come downwards again on SUI. So I do think we can target deeper towards, $2.96, basically towards that $3 mark. But I do think we could expect to see buy soon or reversal soon is what I want to target. I do think we can see that. Especially if obviously we looked at the weekly, we have, low, high, higher low filling this gap. We have this gap here. We filled the gap, continued up, printed past the high and took it. More than fine, equal highs. Again, I think this is a solid target. We have the gap on the weekly, actually, which we're fulfilling the rest of. Again, $3. This is why I was talking about $3.11 because we fulfilled that. But again, we could go just a bit deeper than towards $3. But I think relatively soon we're going to see that target towards $4.40. So again, a buy for SUI, not financial advice. I know some people are asking on Tuesday, should we be buying SUI? I do think very soon could be a good area to buy at for SUI. But again, not financial advice. That's just an opinion. But that's it. 17 minutes over. An absolute disappointment to my family. I want to apologize to everybody who's watching and who have spent more than an hour of their time watching. I'm a disgrace of a streamer. I should be ashamed of myself. And I'm constantly striving to work better on my timing. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Appreciate you all for sticking about, hearing the words coming out of my mouth constantly in a solo, semi-monotonic stream of words coming out and, vibrating into your eardrums and making you fall asleep. Trying desperately to figure out what I'm trying to say in all the words. I do thank you. I will be back on Saturday. I will obviously look at pretty much everything. I will try and look at again. I might look at. Well, I know I skipped it today because I really couldn't be bothered, and I don't really care. If I see something going on, I might look at it, but I probably won't. I probably will forget immediately and won't keep up with it. So I don't. I'm probably not gonna look at it. But obviously, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, SUI, Syrup. We're continuing. I'm gonna look at. I'm definitely gonna look at SUI next stream. Syrup, I think I probably will look at as well because again we have just started that retracement. Could do a higher low towards the highs, so I probably will look at it again. So I don't think there's anything I want to skip. So pretty much same schedule. Next stream, I will see you Saturday. I will see you Tuesday. I'll see you Wednesday as well. And that's pretty much it. Thank you all. Shout out to you all. See you next time. Goodbye.